Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio. Welcome to a movie film commentary track. My name is Zachy Hassan, and I'm here with Brian Hall.
Calling Zachy Hassan.
Zachy Hassan here.
This is Brian to Zachy. I'm talking to you through my watch, which is just technology I can't even fathom. Frankly,
it's the world of tomorrow, today, or yesterday.
I do remember thinking that was really, really cool when I was a kid, and really wanting a watch like that. And it's, I mean, in all seriousness, it's like, oh wow, we did it. You know,
I feel like we're bearing the lead here.
Oh, forgive me.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it's we've been doing this show long enough. I think it's okay to admit here at the Movie Film Podcast, we love Dick.
That's right,
Tracy.
That's right, Tracy. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? Yeah.
So yeah, we're here to do our latest commentary track celebrating the 30th anniversary of Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy.
Wow, 30 years. I gotta admit, when you mentioned doing this, I got really excited. And this isn't a movie that I have seen a lot of times in those 30 years, but there's something still intriguing about it, obviously visually, which we'll talk about. But yeah. I've only seen it a couple times, and each time as an adult when it's come up, either on cable or I eventually got the Blu-ray, I'm always like, yeah, I don't remember this, but I remember being really like drawn into it. So it's always kind of exciting to revisit. And I have to say, it was the same this time. I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to talking about this one with you.
So you have just recently revisited it?
Yeah, I saw it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It came out on Blu-ray, and it was $5 or something. And I thought, I'd really love to see that again. And then, yes, for this, I rewatched it last night.
Well, nice. Let's just get right into it. But before we do that, let's take a little break so that our sponsors can do their thing. And we're back, and there's only one version of Dick Tracy, which is the theatrical cut. So we're queued up on our end. If you want to watch along with us, feel free. Otherwise, we'll try to keep our conversation lively enough to keep you engaged. So, right. Brian, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. So on 3. 1, 2, 3, play.
All right. And ironically, I suppose, the Touchstone Pictures logo is black and white. Just as we're about to dive into a world of color.
The most color ever put on screen in the theaters in summer of 1990, right?
Right. Oh, well, I got to turn on my volume. Well, speaking of volume, we're just hearing the opening strains of Danny Elfman's score, which is kind of a forgotten score of his, right? I mean, safe to say?
It had perhaps the misfortune of arriving so soon after Batman that it just sort of got swept up in that same wave. I mean, it is fairly Batman-y.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I think, yes.
The theme is not. The theme is, I think, pretty distinct, but the majority of the score feels of a piece with Batman. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Actually, I was going to compare it to Picasso's Blue period.
Okay.
Like this was the early 90s, late 80s Elfman, specific bombast period. This was
right? Elfman's blue, green, red, yellow.
Yeah, I mean, this was certainly a moment of his, and it's definitely of a piece with Batman. But I'll defend it in saying that I do feel it is a different theme, and I think it's a great theme, actually.
By the way, as we're scanning across the city,
yes.
this amazing a combination of models and matte paintings and everything. It's really, I mean, it is a fantasy world. Like to me, you know, when you
Yes.
think of a fantasy world, you think of like Peter Jackson and Middle Earth.
Right.
But like what Beatty did here is it stands all on its own.
I'll just say right off the bat. I mean, it's not like you can really spoil this movie, but if you haven't seen this movie and you are interested in watching different things and, you know, just seeing things that you've never seen before and that are impressive, I absolutely recommend this movie. I mean, I was going to get into it later. This is an exercise in style over substance.
Very much so.
Like 100%. I mean, you are not coming for the substance.
And you say that as Vittorio Storaro's credit just went by the cinematographer. And I mean, this is like his. I mean, he had done, you know, Apocalypse Now and whatever else, but this really feels like a culmination of his particular view of cinematography as an essential part of the storytelling.
Absolutely. And I mean, I really mean that too. Like, it's not a slam on the movie. It's still worth watching, even though I'd say the story's a bit thin and wobbly.
Yes.
It's an immersion, and it's a really impressive one, I think, 30 years later.
Now, we're looking at these villains.
Right.
You know, we see the Brow and Little Face, etc. And let's focus in on that, right? Oh, and here's obviously Flat Top.
Flat Top, yeah.
Who, like, I always thought of Flat Top as like the main Dick Tracy villain.
Right.
So you know, whatever limited knowledge I had of Dick Tracy before I saw this movie. But I mean, my point is that's a choice that Beatty made, is to take these cartoon characters and bring them into real life. Mm-hmm. You know, and it feels a little bit like, have you ever seen those drawings or those photoshops where somebody's like, what if Homer Simpson was real?
That is so apt. Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's exactly what this is. It's just as grotesque.
I mean, because these characters, they're literally called grotesques. That's what Chester Gould, the comic creator, called them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're called Dick Tracy's grotesques. And you know, they're all, it's like caricature shorthand, and so there was a choice that was made to say, let's visualize that for real, and they're all kind of horrifying, you know.
Yeah, I think too. Leading up to this, I knew nothing of Dick Tracy really,
okay.
And so in, you know, the marketing leading up to this, or whatever sort of sticker books they'd put out, it was, you know, they'd make such a big deal featuring all of these villains that you're about to see. And I do remember seeing this for the first time, being like, oh, there's that Little Face guy and the Brow and all that. And then they get murdered in about 20 seconds. I was
right?
like, oh.
Well, so much for that.
Yeah, okay, well. I know their names. But, oh, it's so beautiful. Just look at So the intention in making this was having it look like an actual comic strip come to life, in that many, many times the camera is absolutely locked down like a panel in a comic book.
Yep.
And the colors are mostly just primary colors and just mixing them into minor variations. So almost like 7 colors total in this entire film.
Yeah, the idea was to emulate the 4-color printing process of like your Sunday funnies. Mm-hmm. And that was part of Warren Beatty being just a huge fan of Dick Tracy growing up.
Yeah.
And so when he signed on to direct, that was, and he ended up directing. Like, that wasn't, initially he came on board to star.
That was surprising to me. I didn't know he had been trying to get this made since the 70s.
Yeah.
And he was producing, but he apparently, I mean, I guess this is the time to say, I know very little about Warren Beatty. I mean, to me, he's sort of a 70s icon, I suppose, 60s, 70s. Fair. And so I really, honestly, only know him much from this. But apparently he had sort of a reputation for being, I don't know if difficult's the right word, but staunch.
Very fastidious about doing things his way. And you know, he had earned that reputation because of the films that he appeared in. Right. I mean, notwithstanding, like, Ishtar.
Which came right before this. I didn't think about that, but he had just come off a notorious flop into making this sort of real gamble of a film, right?
Legendary. Well, you know, the truth is, like, what made this movie a gamble was less anything Warren Beatty did than sort of the expectations that Disney placed on it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they wanted their 89 Batman.
Yes.
Right? But watching this again last night, I was thinking, I always thought this was a Disney movie, but it isn't. It's a Touchstone movie, which of course is a Disney movie.
And the reason it's a Touchstone movie is sitting right there next to Paul Sorvino, Madonna.
Yes, right. Yeah, I had absolutely no idea until I saw this in HD that you can literally see Madonna naked in this movie. It was just shocking because I was trying to imagine some Disney executives on set seeing her in wardrobe and going, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, it's very funny because I watched this a couple years ago with the boys, and that's when I had not seen it in like beautiful HD ever, right? And there's Madonna basically naked, just writhing on Dick Tracy's desk, and I was like, okay, I don't want to accidentally kickstart any puberties by accident. You know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, and it's just, I mean, her dialogue too. I was like, wow. Right. This is only PG, I believe. It's kind of like Grease, where you grow up and you go, oh, that's what they say in that song,
right?
And also pretty violent. Right? I mean, Tommy guns and people getting mowed down by bullets in cars. I was a little surprised. In my memory, this was like a Disney movie, but
and I think
it is and it isn't.
I think that your memory speaks to sort of the color scheme, which lulls you into making it remembering it as being more sedate than it is, But I mean, to their credit, they did a really good job of not merely emulating the aesthetic of those comic strips, but also the tone, because the comic strips were incredibly violent. Dick Tracy, who, I mean, just, full disclosure, I don't have any super insight into Dick Tracy like I do comic book characters, but I'm aware. I was aware of him, and then I read about the character after the movie came out, and he was like Dirty Harry.
I know.
The villains would die, and unlike say Batman, villains would die and they would just be dead.
They come back and they're like, "This guy's the Hand. Yeah. His left hand is larger than his right." Yeah.
After a while, the well started to run dry a little bit with like truly memorable villains. But my understanding...
By the way, go ahead.
Sorry, real quick. I mean, the comic strip is still going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was going to just point out this character here, the Tramp.
Yes.
Apparently, they made an action figure out of this guy, but then homeless advocacy groups complained that it gave a bad impression of homeless people, so he was removed from market, and now the action figure is worth a lot of money.
Ain't that just how it is?
This is fun, though. I love this. I love that the backgrounds look goofy. Like, I like that they look like Mary Poppins or something.
Yeah.
Almost like, not charcoal, but what am I trying to say? Pastel or something.
Yeah, no.
And then you've got, Dick Tracy beating up this guy, so you just see a shack going right to left to right to left. He steps out and then it collapses. I love this. The tone of this is so fun.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting, right? Because for all that Disney wanted another Batman, when you look at it, like the approach is so similar yet so different to Batman. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, elaborate on that.
Well, I think that there is there's something heightened about this. I mean, obviously, like Al Pacino here, he's not doing Glengarry Glen Ross. He's right. I think whatever Al Pacino did here, like, it planted a virus in him, and that's what he's been doing since.
I was just about to say, this feels like what he became, I suppose.
Well, he was nominated for an Oscar for this.
Yeah.
Right? So think about that. The same year he does Godfather Part 3, he gets nominated for Dick Tracy.
Right.
So clearly...
Which he was nominated alongside Joe Pesci and Andy Garcia for Godfather 3. And I thought, oh, wow, these are all mobster roles for nominated for the acting nominations. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if that was in the air at the time or what.
I wonder if people looked at Pacino in this, they're like, wow, it's so crazy how over the top he is. We've never seen Al Pacino like that,
Right.
Whereas now you look at him in like Serpico, you're like, wow, he used to like not yell all the time.
Right,
nice.
right. By the way, this horrified me as a kid.
Right?
This notion here where they got Paul Sorvino,
Not the bath.
like, give him a bath. Yeah, and he's like, no, not the bath. And they're pouring concrete on him in a box, and they're going to dump him in the ocean. And I'm sure, like, 10-year-old me was like, but then he'll freeze and be alive and die underwater. Just playing out the rest of it in my brain. So anyway, yes, you mentioned this earlier, and I was sort of trying to get back to that. But what about this would appeal to kids other than colors? I mean, you can imagine. I mean, you see this kind of cool guy in a yellow jacket and a cool watch and running around and explosions and whatnot. But it's kind of interesting how not kid friendly. But I mean, this isn't really Madonna and Al Pacino and all these prestige actors and mob loyalties. And
to your point,
it's just not a
To your point, the last time Dick Tracy, as of 2020, the last time Dick Tracy mattered was with this movie in 1990, right?
Right.
What's the last time Dick Tracy mattered before this movie?
Right.
I'm going to say the 60s.
Okay.
Right? So in other words, what we see with this, right, is Batman comes out and it's this phenomenon, and suddenly, Dick Tracy gets rushed through the production line. I mean, it was a year later, so it was already in the works, right?
Sure.
But it's a reflection of studio heads thinking of the superhero type characters they liked when they were kids.
Yeah.
And so Dick Tracy was just the leading edge of, the Shadow and the Phantom, etc.,
Yeah, and to your point, just this week here in 2020, they were showing old episodes of Jeopardy! And they showed the second episode ever with Alex Trebek, and one of the questions was, or the categories was, the 40s. And I thought, oh, that's so funny. So I started doing the mental math about 1984 to the 40s versus 1980 to 2020. And so anyway, along those lines, when I was growing up, like the 60s were a big deal. Everyone was sort of getting nostalgic about the 60s. And thinking of people who were adults when this movie was being developed, for them, it must have been, I guess, the 40s. So like you say, Dick Tracy to them was like, oh yeah, I remember Dick Tracy. And like you say, the Shadow and the Phantom. So it was kind of funny thinking about that last night, just the sort of, I don't know, the yardsticks of nostalgia for each generation.
Dick Tracy comic strip started in 1931.
Right.
Now, the strip is still going as of today.
Incredible.
So no doubt, like, I'm not saying Dick Tracy has no pop culture footprint, but what I am saying, let's be honest, right? A daily newspaper strip doesn't mean as much today as it did, say, 50 years ago.
Right.
Right. I think if, like, up through the 80s, if you made like a two-way wrist radio reference, I think kids would at least have a frame of reference for what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Whereas if you did that now, they'd be like, oh, you mean like an Apple Watch?
Yeah.
Right. So in a weird way, I think when I make the connection to Batman, the movie had the job of, sort of showing that the character could be other than the Adam West version. Right.
Which was still very much in the zeitgeist at that time. Yeah.
Whereas this movie was, it didn't have to compete with, some other incarnation.
Right.
Not in the same way. I mean, there were like serials, and I believe there's a television series, but you know what I mean? There was an animated show, but
right.
Dick Tracy had never really gotten a pop culture treatment that blew up in the same way.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, this I just thought this was kind of interesting. They spend so much time on this scene of Pacino pushing Madonna after her and her dancers and her band have clearly been practicing all night. But it's interesting how it's interwoven between the interrogation scene with the Mumbles character and Dick Tracy. I found the editing of this movie really interesting. Obviously, I think it's well known if you read about it, but he had to hack this movie down. He wanted it to be about 2 hours, 15 minutes, and they whittled it down to an hour 45, and I think you can feel it. I don't know. So it's sort of interesting, some of the decisions that they did decide to keep for so long. Like this is fun. I do enjoy this, but it's interesting how long this is. But they do this a couple times throughout the movie where something's happening, I guess, with Madonna or a song, but they're keep cutting back to action, but then cutting back to her in the club. And you know what I mean?
Well, I wonder, okay, so Warren Beatty was dating Madonna at the time.
Right.
And so I wonder if there was a little bit of like, oh, I want to keep as much of her in it as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, and I gotta say, I do like it. But I did find it to be a choice. Like, it didn't feel inevitable. It just felt like a choice, and I thought it was like, oh well, I don't know. And that's by Kathy Bates, by the way, playing the stenographer. Yeah.
Wow, I totally missed that. How funny!
There are so many people in this movie.
I was about to say that the cast in this movie, because as we were going over the city and it shows all the people like so and so. I was like, this is like Warren Beatty just like got out his like pocket phone book and just handed it to secretary. It was like, call all of them.
Yeah, he pulled out his Palm Pilot.
Right,
and it was like, what is it? Eat up Martha or something. Yeah, but oh look, and there's James Tolkien.
Right.
I didn't even remember he was in this, and it's weird seeing him play anything other than a hard ass.
Right.
You know? I was like, James Tolkien won't take that.
This movie, Brian, was my very first exposure to Al Pacino.
I'm sure it was mine too.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Like, you know, my like baseline for Pacino was Big Boy Caprice.
Right. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Warren Beatty too.
Apparently, he designed his own makeup also, right? So this is look at that. This movie is so not for kids.
It's
like him slapping Madonna like that and grabbing her butt, and it's
some kids watching. So that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, when you grow up and you own a club,
that's what you do. Okay,
that's how you behave. Yeah.
I do love Dustin Hoffman here.
Yeah, that's good, subtle makeup, isn't it? His twisted lips there.
And again, you're like, well, this is the guy from Rain Man, like.
Right. Oh, I didn't even put that together. Yeah, kind of a revisit of that voice.
It does feel like that a little bit, right?
I did forget that the reveal here happens much later in the film. I was waiting for it in this scene.
Oh.
Where he slows down the tape and he has the recorder hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. So you and I were the same age. What was your familiarity with Dick Tracy before this movie?
I am almost certain next to nothing.
Really?
Maybe I knew the name, but I'm certain I never saw the comic.
Okay.
Because we got, growing up in Wheaton, we got the Daily Herald and not the Chicago Tribune. And I remember being jealous of the Chicago Tribune's Sunday Funnies because they would have Snoopy.
Sure.
You know, and they would have some of these other comics that the Daily Herald didn't get, which had its own great comics. But I think Dick Tracy was one of those that was not in there.
I love, by the way, how you're saying that about the Herald, like somebody from the Herald is listening.
Well, you know what? That was my paper growing up. I do feel a twinge of loyalty to it. So, anyway, yeah. So had you read the comics? I mean, did you know any of these villains and whatnot?
Yeah, I was familiar with Dick Tracy primarily from there was an animated show, like little shorts.
Holy cow! I don't even. Yeah.
It was from
where? Like what, on network or cable or Bozo Show or
from the Bozo Show.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah. I remember that, and I was familiar with the comics, and then as with so much of my pop culture knowledge, I backed into it because of Mad Magazine.
Ah, okay.
Right? So
they were doing riffs on this before the film?
Oh, yeah. Like, they were doing riffs on the comic strip.
Interesting.
And so I remember reading a Mad Magazine parody of the Dick Tracy comic strip. And, you just, it's like sink or swim with Mad Magazine. Well, if you don't know what it's referring to,
right.
If you want to laugh, you got to just figure it out.
Right.
And I feel like I can point to so many examples of my pop culture fandoms that I first was exposed to through Mad.
Wow.
And Dick Tracy was definitely one of them. I remember there was a parody where he was making fun of how Chester Gould would have like little arrows, right? So he would, like when Tracy's on his radio, there'd be a little arrow. It says two-way wrist radio. And so the parody, like
indicating the voice coming through, or what were the arrows?
Like it'll have like Dick Tracy talking to his watch, and I think Gould, under the assumption that if that's your first strip reading, you're like, what the hell is he doing? So a little arrow. It says, oh,
right.
It's two, And so there was a parody, like basically arrows pointing to everything. So it's like Tracy's gun, the brow, the brow's brow, stuff like that.
That's hilarious.
That was how I knew who the brow was, because of that.
Right.
So I was familiar, and so between that and the cartoon, I knew the character, and so I knew enough to know, it was like a big deal that they were making a movie out of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then, I've mentioned to you before, we were living overseas. We came back during summer of '90, and it was full Tracy mania.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't have any awareness pre the film being made, but I certainly got swept up in the Disney machinery, marketing machinery.
You were
of it all. I mean,
I had a willing mark.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, did you have the shirt?
I did not have the shirt. I wanted the shirt.
Yeah, I had the shirt. The silhouette.
Where he's talking into his watch.
No, it was this.
Where he's looking in one direction.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's funny because I mean, much has been said online about how the '89 Batman marketing was just set the bar, right? And they were like, we don't even need to put the title in this thing. We're just going to put a black poster with the Batman logo on it, and it's even cropped, and it's been sort of like gold and shiny, like you're getting something new. And that was all you needed. And that summer, that logo was everywhere. Sure, everybody had that shirt.
Yeah.
And so I think Disney was like, oh, okay, iconic logo, eh? And so they made that sort of circled Tracy silhouette, and that was, it worked on me. I had the shirt. And
it's interesting because 30 years later, we look back on that marketing, and I'm sure you would agree, we consider it iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, arguably, that the ubiquity of the marketing worked against the movie in terms of what it is really, and
yeah, sure,
and even like what it was measured as. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which, by the way, we should just, because I think it's the only time he's there. That Charlie Fleischer was there as one of the reporters, the voice of Roger Rabbit.
Oh, nice.
And then the reporter.
And there's Dick Van Dyke, by the way.
Yeah, this is such a weird mishmash of just all sorts of things, right? It feels like Dick Van Dyke for the kids, I suppose. I don't know. Well, I guess the adults. But then it's just like, and music by Stephen Sondheim.
And
right,
Madonna.
Kids? Yeah, you're like, what? Madonna, that woman with that book that is behind the counter, so I can't look at it?
Right. Well, that was 2 years later, so.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
It was on the way, though. But it's to the point I'm making, right? Like, the movie cost $46 million, which was no small thing.
Yeah.
Because I think Batman cost 30.
Wow.
So the money shows up on screen, I would say. But still, $46 million is already a lot. And then Disney pumps another like $50 million into marketing.
Yeah.
So suddenly this movie needs to make a lot more just to be considered a success, right? So it made $162 million, I think.
Worldwide, yeah.
Worldwide, which back in $1990, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But,
by the way, conspiracy theorists, I got to point out, it's gone now. But Sean Young was cast as Tess for a moment.
Yes, that's right.
And then let go and replaced. And people believe that was actually her back in that scene where the kid is putting on the suit because the hairstyle is different.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Sean Young.
Sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to point it out.
No, that's actually. I mean, so Sean Young, for those of you who don't know, she was originally cast in Batman '89.
Yes.
She broke her arm filming, practicing for a scene that wasn't filmed, and replaced by Kim Basinger. She then gets fired from this, And the reasoning that was given was, it's kind of a he said she said thing, right? She said that Warren Beatty was making advances on her, and he said I made a mistake casting her, right?
And then apparently Charlie Korsmo, is that his name?
Yes.
His mother said that she was difficult.
Really?
That's
okay.
sort of a third account.
So then a year later, she had her famous Catwoman fiasco.
Right.
So it really does feel like it was like just a really bad run of luck for Sean Young.
Yeah.
In that era. And then
Yeah.
she was in Ace Ventura.
Right, which was 94, so just a couple years after.
2
years after the Batman Returns thing.
That's right. And she is really like the one part of, well, there's a lot in that movie that's dated, but I think her role specifically is the most dated part of that movie.
Right.
Not to spoil anything for anybody if you haven't seen it, but
yeah.
Glenn Headley, though, she just passed away recently.
Yeah, she's fantastic in this, by the way.
I really like her, yeah.
I mean, her character is...
She's very lovable.
Yes, I think her character is very underserved.
Yes.
In the film, but I think she brings a lot to it. Like, she has this sort of soft-spokenness, but I love that moment later when she's hanging out with the kid, not taking any of his guff.
Yes. Speaking of the kid, I actually, I have a long-running pet peeve with movies, which I call dumb kid syndrome. And it may have originated with Dick Tracy.
I don't mind him in this. I actually don't mind him.
I think, as I watched this last week, I was just like, I don't care about the kid. I want to follow Dick Tracy,
Yeah, I get you. It's funny because it's one of the few things that gives the movie any heart.
That's fair.
Sort of this hard-nosed detective who has this kid that he has to sort of look after, and I don't know. It's so funny because normally I would 100% agree with you. I've said this before, I hate especially when you're adapting something that didn't have a kid character, but they feel like they need to shove one in there so the kids won't relate otherwise, and I always, even as a kid, didn't like those characters.
Right.
But yeah, there's something, I feel like, to me, he's not saying any stupid 90s phrases. Maybe that helps. And
Radical,
I mean, he's right, exactly. Tubular. It's like he's just enough, and I feel like he is the only thing that gives any dimension to Tracy as a human being and him and Tess's relationship.
That's interesting because I think that is a problem with the character, is that he's such a straight arrow that he's almost like our tour guide through all these various weird characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think Beatty does the job. I think he does a good job embodying that.
He's great.
He really is. And by the way, he was 52 in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd say he looks a good 10 years younger than that.
I would wholeheartedly agree. I was surprised when I saw that.
Yeah, so here we go. This is like I said, the moment that kickstarted more than a couple puberties, I'm guessing.
What was I going to say? Charlie Korsmo. So he was like a big kind of thing for a while. I mean, he had this, and he had quite the run. He had Hook.
He had Hook, yeah.
What about Bob? Remember that?
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah. Last time I saw him was Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah, which he was great in also.
He was good in that, yeah. I think he went on
I wonder
to
what he's up to.
He's like a lobbyist or something.
Oh, interesting.
He became like an Alex P. Keaton type.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So he just got out of the business entirely. Yeah.
This, by the way, I mean, obviously makes like a very alluring image, but I was like, what is she doing? just posing for a poster that doesn't exist or something.
So nobody's going to confuse Madonna with Meryl Streep.
I like this, by the way. This shot is just so great.
It's just beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like that harsh light on their edges, and him drop the champagne between them and dropping the earring. Great.
You could put a frame around that and hang it up on a wall.
Yeah, You said, I mean, for most of this movie.
Yeah, it's true.
Sorry. Okay, Madonna. Sorry.
Yeah, so Madonna has always been a terrible actor. She has not gotten better on that front.
Right.
And I say to somebody, I like Madonna. I like her music. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
However, again, acting is not her strong suit. So I wonder how much of her performance is like Warren Beatty not even bothering to direct her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just like she's just doing her thing. She's doing her sexy Madonna thing.
Yeah, I feel. Well, by the way, the kid's at the door, right? When I was watching this last night, I think she's kind of like cute kid or something and touches him. Or no, that's later. There's a moment where she sees him. Oh, it's in his apartment, and she like kind of touches his chin. And is like cute kid. And I just thought it'd be a funny decision to have the kid, his voice drop then and there, and be like, "Who was that, Tracy?" And then, but you don't lose it for the rest of the film. It's like, "Come on, Tracy, we gotta go." Like that was a shift in that boy's life. Well, we did it again, man.
I mean, I'm thinking because I was like 10 when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And I don't remember being into girls or whatever at that time. But I knew enough
like
to be like
it was like a very specific young sort of I like this girl in class kind of feeling probably. Yeah.
But even still I remember enough that even then I was like, wow, she's really hot.
Yeah, this probably was sort of an awakening
right?
for a lot of young people. Yeah. Which, by the way, Catherine O'Hara is. See her? She's the one female in the room, I guess.
Oh, I
had no idea that was her. Right there. With the cigarette.
Right there she is. Look at that.
She has no lines. I gotta assume she had a moment that got cut or something.
Just
and this is the same year Home Alone came out.
I was about to say.
So, I mean,
it's just in between Home Alone and this, she had a busy 1990.
Yeah, and even if she didn't have lines, I've got to imagine a lot of these people. I know I would, and I'm no Catherine O'Hara, but if they're like, "Hey, do you want to be in a room where Al Pacino's just acting his ass off?" I'd be like, "Yeah, just
Sign me
get to be in the room for a couple days and just watch." Absolutely.
So check. I went to Charlie Korsmo's Wikipedia page. Korsmo is currently a professor of corporate law and corporate finance at the Case Western Reserve University School of Law in Cleveland.
Huh. Well, there you go.
Good for him.
Yeah, kind of like Jeff Cohen, I believe his name is, the kid who plays Chunk in the Goonies. He's some sort of lawyer now.
He just got out of the business completely, right?
Yeah.
He's an attorney also, yeah. This remind you of this scene right here? It's like a Joker.
I thought the exact same thing. It's almost a... Yeah, the one person at the other end of a table, long table, surrounded by mobsters, refusing an offer, and him being like, "Yeah, sure, hey, no problem." And then he murders them.
It's interesting, right? Because nowadays we sort of take for granted that like great actors do comic book movies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right.
It's not surprising when when like a Morgan Freeman or somebody does a comic book movie, and a lot of that, you point to Superman 78, you point to Batman 89. I feel like this one gets overlooked because look at this, we got a room with James Caan, Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, obviously, et cetera, down the line. Pacino gets an Oscar nomination out of it.
Right.
You can see why these actors do these types of movies,
Yeah. And then Nicholson got nominated for an Oscar also, right? So
was he nominated?
Or maybe no. You know what? We talked about this before. For some reason had that in my head. Yeah, that's what it was. Or maybe it was like nominated for a Golden Globe or something. But anyway, just seeing that there's potential for prestige recognition in these things. I mean, that must have been somewhat new.
Look, is this the first time that Pacino and James Caan were in a movie together since The Godfather?
Maybe.
I just had that thought. William Forsythe, by the way. It was the first time I saw him.
Not recognizable.
Right? He's great in The Rock, which was a few years after this. But very shortly after this, he was on a syndicated TV remake of The Untouchables as Al Capone.
Forsythe was?
Forsythe, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He's very good too.
I'm getting ahead of it here, but when Tracy's on this ledge and then he jumps onto that pole, did you notice how he like knocks his head on it?
Yes, I did actually. I read a thing about.
I was like, "Ow!" Yeah, and apparently, yeah, someone asked Beatty about the stuntman who did that, and he goes, "What are you talking about, stuntman? That was me."
He's like,
I was like, "Wow, good for him."
What's a stuntman?
Yeah, it looked like it hurt.
What's funny about this is the scale of the story is relatively small, which I mean the scale suits the story that's being told, right?
Yeah.
But it's weird because when you watch it with a 2020 perspective, like the third act is basically, there's like a shootout and that's it.
Yeah, which I wasn't sure when to get to this, but so you have a movie that was severely cut down, right?
Yeah.
And so then when they were doing the novelization, they went to Max Allan Collins. Did you read this?
No. I mean, I know
So
he
he
wrote the novelization.
So yeah, he wrote for Dick Tracy Comics in the 70s and 80s, and then was approached to write the tie-in novel, which was back then. I don't know if people even think about those anymore, but anytime a movie came out, Batman or something, there was always a...
That was such like part of the experience, part of the hype.
Yeah, like because it would come out before the movie, and you could wait. That movie I want to see in 3 weeks. And you pick up the Batman thing, and it would say, Joker mixes these chemicals, and you go, wait, what does it all mean? And they would be bestsellers.
Yeah.
So anyway, Collins was like, well, the script's not very great. I'm just gonna do whatever I want. Like, just kind of take the skeleton and do whatever I want. And then he turned it in, and Disney was like, no. So he had to go back, and he made it closer to the film. And then apparently, because the movie got so hacked up and there were so many plot holes, Beatty, took a look at the novelization, and he took dialogue that Collins invented and used it through ADR to patch up his own movie.
Really?
So yeah, some of the script polishing in this movie, you'll notice, especially in the third act. That's why I bring it up, because you mentioned it. But half of Pacino's dialogue is over his shoulder, where you can't see his mouth moving, and it's very likely came from this guy who did the tie-in novel, because he figured out how to make it work.
That's really funny.
Isn't that fascinating?
I mean, Go ahead.
Sorry. One more interesting thing about the novel. So there's a huge twist, right? You have this mysterious figure in the shadows, the Blank, who has no face.
Right.
And this is huge reveal at the end that you find out it's, the Breathless Mahoney character. But Disney didn't want that being spoiled before the movie came out. So they literally printed the first pressing of the tie-in novel, did not reveal who the Blank was. They just left it as a separate person. Madonna lives, the end.
How
and
infuriating.
then after the film came out, they did a second pressing or printing where they put it where it is like the film, and they reveal, oh, no, actually that character was the Blank. I mean, who would spend that kind of money?
I know. That's infuriating.
Isn't that crazy?
It defeats the purpose. Like, it's weird, right? Because nowadays, what you tend to see is the novelization comes out after the movie to avoid precisely that.
Right. Because do you remember when The Phantom Menace, all that stuff came out before the movie, which is shocking to think of now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember learning that Qui-Gon Jinn died because I saw the storybook in a store weeks before the film, and I was like, I gotta look at this. And it was like,
I remember the novelization of the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes just left out the ending, where he
really
comes back to Earth. Yeah.
Oh, just to I see. Yeah,
so it
sure.
just has him leave the planet. It's like, all right, that's it.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, I
love this. Green stairs, yellow.
It's so
water.
It's so vibrant, right? And it's. I just watched Siskel and Ebert, their review of it. They gave 2 thumbs up, by the way. And
I could see. I still think, story stuff aside, it is worth watching. I would agree with that.
That's exactly it. It's such a uniquely visual experience that it pulls you in, right? It's not garish.
Yeah.
And I draw a distinction between this and like what Joel Schumacher was attempting to do with Batman Forever, which really does seem garish.
Right, right,
Best intentions notwithstanding.
right. Which, by the way, this is the only time in the movie you see real sky, and it's very jarring.
Right.
Did you notice that?
Yes.
It looks like a blue sunny day in Los Angeles, and it just doesn't feel right.
It's interesting because he's wearing this banana colored raincoat and fedora that has to look like it fits in the world that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, I mean, everything about the movie flows outward from that aesthetic choice. And you say to yourself, well, like 30 years later, why do we, to whatever extent Dick Tracy is still talked about, it's talked about because of the look.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If it's just about a tough guy cop, is it really Dick Tracy?
Right. Right. Well, I mean, and it's he essentially made Sin City before anyone was capable of making Sin City. Like he made it with the resources available. But I read somewhere, and you never know with the internet, some of the, less reliable than others, but someone said this was one of the few last films made without any CGI, which, I mean, it's totally plausible, I guess.
Sounds about right.
CGI, I mean, you think of The Abyss in 89, that was just before this.
Yeah.
But it's an accomplishment.
It is, and I think it goes to, the specific vision that Beatty had.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think that's worth recognizing is that at the time, an actor of his stature doing a movie like this, like I'm trying to think of a parallel. It would be like if DiCaprio played Gambit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right? Because
and then directed it, and
yeah, you know what I mean.
Like went all in on it.
Because Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the great actors of this current era, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, Warren Beatty was the equivalent in the 60s and 70s. And DiCaprio has done no franchise movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever he did would be kind of a big deal. Well, it's kind of the same thing with Warren Beatty. He never did a franchise movie before this.
Right.
Or after this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
We don't like that Dick.
Shady. No, sir.
We only like a specific kind of dick.
That's
here
right.
On the Movie Film Show.
The Tracy variety. Got me. No, yeah. Dick Van Dyke's great in this. I wonder how old he is, by the way.
Dick Van Dyke is currently 90-something. So he would have been 60-something here.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want to call it? His chutzpah, his soul, whatever it is that beams out of him whenever he's anything, it is just, in his minor role, it is like on full display. Like he just is that one of a kind.
Yeah.
I remember this was in the trailers.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. See,
which I keep forgetting. Some people aren't watching this. It's when she reveals she's wearing very skimpy clothes, and she says, "Aren't you going to frisk me?" That's literally where I learned what the word frisk meant. Actually, I forgot about that. I love this, by the way. Her test with this baseball and any moment where she kind of gets to be like, and just shows that she's, I don't know, her own person and not putting up with anyone's crap. I thought she shined bright.
Glenn Headley was great. She was in a whole bunch. I mean, she was in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Right.
She had a run on ER. She was in a bunch of stuff. She was still. I mean, she went too young.
Yeah. This is a tricky proposition, by the way, here, where you have. Obviously, you've got to imagine your audience is attracted to Madonna to some degree. So you sort of want your lead to have some sort of connection with her, but you also don't want him to be a scumbag.
Yeah.
He's got this really loyal, wonderful girlfriend. So I was kind of watching it, thinking about the degrees they were playing with. And there's a couple times, too, especially, when I've been playing these sort of role-playing games recently where you get to choose how the characters react. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the option... and how they react affects, how the game continues. And sometimes you can choose to have them say nothing at all. And I noticed they did that a lot with him here. Like she would say something really, trying to seduce him. And instead of having some sort of response, he'd just say nothing. And I was like, yeah, that's sort of the cop out in the game, but it's like kind of makes sense in this. Yeah. Kind of leaves him a little bit, a couple degrees away from her and the guilt circle.
That's really funny. Now, what you have
this
to realize...
This is the scene, by the way, too. Oh, sorry, where I was imagining the kid's voice like,
yeah.
Who's that, Tracy?
Hey, Tracy. I mean,
anyway, sorry.
The movie is set in like a 1930s era, and so what she's wearing is even more scandalous right. for that. Right. I mean, she's basically naked for,
right.
Right. Leaves very little to the imagination.
Wow, look at how that red pops. So cool. Yeah, well, going back to Madonna, by the way, I guess the other actresses that were seriously considered, one was Kim Basinger, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sharon Stone.
So like all the Batman people, like...
Right. I was thinking about that. This is so sad, by the way. Tess crying in the kitchen.
Bastard.
Anyway. Yeah. He's like, is this pistachio? Yeah. About the ice cream. Come on, Tracy.
By the way, I love how the blank sounds like Boosh, the bodyguard.
I could not for the life of me find who did the voice because Pat Welsh, who was someone Ben Burt discovered and cast her to do the voice of E.T. and Boosh from Return of the Jedi, I thought that has to be her. And she was alive. She passed away in 1995, but no one is credited as far as I can find for the blank's voice.
Apparently,
no. After all that searching I did last night. Actually, I'd prefer it. I want to know.
I was seeing if it was actually Madonna, but I can't confirm that. So.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all. Oh, well, I just wanted to point out with Madonna. So she even said in interviews, she's like, I know they had A-list and I was Z-list. But she knew that it would be good for them. She knew it'd be good for her because she wanted to be taken seriously as an actress. And, she knew she was about to go on tour and she did a whole Dick Tracy spectacle thing in her tour. But anyway, she was so invested in it that she got paid scale. She only made $35,000 for this movie.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. But she came out with a whole concept album. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I forget what it was called, but yeah.
So it wasn't just the Sondheim songs, but her and her producers put together just songs. It's funny. Remember that used to be a thing, right? Music inspired by,
right?
Batman, or music inspired by Father of the Bride 2 or something. And that's where Vogue came from. I didn't even know that the song Vogue comes from this Dick Tracy.
Yeah, it's called I'm Breathless, the album.
Yeah.
And it has, is that, it's Dick Tracy on the cover, but is it Warren Beatty?
Probably not. If you can't tell, probably not.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just like looking at these pictures of Madonna circa 1990, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I wasn't allowed to like listen to that music,
Right? Was that like the Cone Bra era?
No, that was after.
Oh, okay.
This was like her, like Marilyn Monroe phase.
Okay.
But her boobs are hanging out, and just it's quite a.
And then she had her documentary Truth or Dare.
Yeah, which he is in.
Yes, they were dating at the time, and I looked it up because I read about it in a Rolling Stone article that every scene that he's in, he's just painfully uncomfortable being on camera. So I watched a couple of them. That's kind of funny.
Well, there was like a 20+ year difference between them.
Right.
Right? Because she's like 30 in this movie, and he was like 51.
Yeah.
52, right? So, that's the reason. Like, it's just, he, especially in terms of his, like, his just generationally, he was, imagine being 50 and being, like, you can see why he settled down so shortly after that.
Yeah, when she was sort of in the middle of her quote unquote like bad girl persona, you can just imagine him being like, yeah, all right.
You can imagine.
I just kind of want to watch. I kind of want to watch some Murder She Wrote tonight.
Right,
Yeah.
Because it's interesting because Warren Beatty. I actually wrote a paper about Warren Beatty when I was in film school.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah, I should dig it up, see if I can find it. But he was like this Lothario,
Right.
you know,
right.
kind of the Clooney of his day, you know, dating all kinds of people, right? And then he
Or DiCaprio, you could say.
or DiCaprio. Well, DiCaprio like has still not settled down, right?
Yeah.
But like Warren Beatty, right after Dick Tracy, because Bugsy was the year after, he meets Annette Bening on that.
Annette Bening, right?
And they've been together ever since.
Right.
So good for him. Good job, Warren.
Yeah,
That's what I'm.
Yeah, but just last thing I'll say about the concept album. I mean, isn't it kind of? Well, maybe it's not actually, because I think Beyonce just came out with one. I was going to say, doesn't that seem like sort of a bygone era where you could get someone like Prince, who's just notoriously rigid about what he will and will not do as an artist, but he's like, yeah, I'll make a song called Bat Dance. You know?
Right.
But then again, like I said, I mean, yeah, I guess Beyonce just did that recently, so perhaps it lives on.
Now, what's interesting is Martin Scorsese was considering directing this, but he chose to do Goodfellas instead.
Right.
And you wonder, like, what does a Martin Scorsese Dick Tracy look like?
It's hard to say, because if they kept this palette, I would be fascinated to see. I love what they did with the colors and the style, but it would be really fun to see Scorsese's energy and camera work with this.
That's the, you know, when the movie starts, we see, you know, we see Tracy's hat, we see his watch, he puts it on, we're off to the races. That's the, you know, there's no origin.
Right.
And I think that in and of itself is something like that's a choice that was made. Like, we don't start with like, what's the thing that prompts Tracy to become a cop, and you know, you don't, like, you start out with the inciting incident and then come back to that. Like, they don't even bother creating like a real arc for him,
which is fine.
It is,
right? I mean, not the arc part, but I don't need to see that he was some beat cop who didn't take crap. And
yes, absolutely.
Actually, that'd be funny if we were saying that boardroom of mobster scene felt lifted from '89 Batman. That'd be funny if this movie opened with him as a teen and there was a zoo train or like a circus train going by and he finds his hat and everything. You're like, hey, just ripping off every movie from 1989.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is not a critique of this movie, but what you, for sure, like, that's what we would see today, it feels like.
Yeah. Which, by the way, this movie rivals Rocky IV in terms of montages.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And what I love too, by the way, I love, it's coming up here, I think, where he punches a guy and the guy just does like a backflip. Love it. So cool. I love it. But it is set to the sleepiest song on the soundtrack.
Yes.
Which even watching it now, you're seeing these, you know, busted again by Tracy and doors getting kicked down and cars squealing on slick roads. But the song is this really, really sleepy song that Madonna's singing. I just remember thinking, this is a choice. and out of the 3 montages, 2 of them are set to sleepy songs. I just find that so weird. I mean, don't get me wrong. You get Sondheim to write you music. You play his music, but
you go with whatever he says.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny is Danny Elfman has said, like, he's like, Warren Beatty's insane.
Yeah, which I wish he had elaborated a bit more. Yeah, I would be fascinated to know what that's all about.
Because Elfman got the gig off the strength of Batman.
Right.
And, I mean, at that time, Danny Elfman is relatively new to composing, right? I mean, I'd even been doing it for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, Pee-wee, I think, was his first. Pee-wee was first. 85?
Pee-wee was not 85, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 years. I thought it was later. I thought it was like 87 for some reason.
I'm pretty certain it's 85. And then he did Back to School, maybe 1 or 2 other things. Then he had Beetlejuice 88, Batman 89.
And obviously Batman is what just shot him through the roof.
Yeah, I think that's where he, well, not maybe Beetlejuice, but I was going to say he really found his blue period, to put it one way, voice. His initial voice. Yeah. I love this. This is a good scene. Having this guy in the ceiling and then spilling the coffee and then it dripping. And I just felt this was really well done. And I was like, oh, that guy. He's gonna get hurt really badly.
Now, speaking of Danny Elfman, this same year he did Darkman.
Yeah, which is another very this period-ish score. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, well, yeah, I read also that Elfman was saying as difficult as the process was in doing this, he got to write a big Gershwin-y theme, which he really does. I guess it's the test theme. Oh, I love this, by the way. Them by that window and the leaves blowing, and then some guy, it looks like a painting come to life. That guy holding down his cap, walking against the wind. It's so staged and beautiful. I love it. But anyway, he said, he's like, I wanted to write this Gershwin-y thing. I got to do it. So, I got what I wanted. And it's a gorgeous theme. I guess John Landis was attached to this for a while too. That's something to imagine.
John Landis, and because of what happened on the Twilight Zone movie, he left. I mean, this movie went through basically. We're talking about Batman '89 as a touchstone. Really, the process of getting it going started with Superman '78.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah,
right, and so Superman comes out, and of course Richard Donner is like getting offered every comic book movie, so he was offered this.
Yeah, sure.
Him and Tom Mankiewicz. Tom Mankiewicz actually did take a crack at the script. But I mean, they approached Clint Eastwood to be in it.
Going with your Dirty Harry thing, yeah.
Well, and you picture like early '80s Clint Eastwood, I can totally see that.
Oh, totally, yeah. Right?
But like, you go down the line of like '80s leading men, so Harrison Ford, Tom Selleck, Richard Gere,
Richard Gere, yeah.
Right? Like I can see that all of those people being asked. But I mean, I think they got the right guy.
I think so.
I also think it's interesting that for all of the thing I was saying about how they visualize the grotesques, well, Dick Tracy has a very specific portrayal in the comic strips, but you don't see Warren Beatty with like a weird prosthetic nose on.
Which apparently they tested, and then they realized it'd just be best not to go that route. Yeah,
it's smart,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if it's your main character and you're going to be scrutinizing their face for 85% of the movie, yeah, it's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, it would look like Steve Martin and Roxanne or something. You'd just be you can't help but look at that.
Right. But they do try to do some sort of flourish, I guess. Looking at this, the guy who had the bug. I think his name actually is Bug.
Yep.
But his hair is bright yellow, so they tried to give everyone some sort of touch. Oh man, 10-year-old Brian's cringing again. Another man going to be locked in cement beneath the ocean. This is cool. I like the sequence too. How he's got the little distraction with his coat.
Those coats and hats were also quite ubiquitous in stores that summer.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh! I desperately I wanted a hat so badly.
Yeah, I remember that too. I remember that after Last Crusade, I wanted a fedora. Like I wished that they would come back into sort of the social sort of cultural dress, but it was never to be. Well, I guess it sort of was, but...
Yeah. I still have my Indiana Jones fedora.
Yeah, I definitely got one. I probably just wore it around the house like a goober, and my parents thought it was adorable, but yeah. By the way, this scene here, where he's yelling at the table, that was used in the montage. So it just makes me wonder about how much of this movie got sliced and diced.
Man, I think that itself is interesting because Warren Beatty was a big enough name that you'd think he had Final Cut.
Yeah, I wonder. And by the way, he is really attached to this character.
Yes.
Still. I mean, he's very passionate about it, which is cool. But so much so that he's always said he wanted a director's cut to come out. He's always said he's going to make a sequel. And at one point in 2008, when he owns the rights to the character, the rights were about to lapse. So he produced a special with Leonard Maltin.
Yep.
Interviewing Dick Tracy in character. So 2008, Warren Beatty playing Dick Tracy and Leonard Maltin being like, so do you think Warren Beatty will ever make a sequel? And Beatty as Dick Tracy saying, I don't know, you have to ask him. But they I don't even know, did it air anywhere? I found it on YouTube.
It aired on TCM.
Okay. But that was how he was able to continue holding on to the rights before the lapse, which I just found.
Yeah, because technically he reprised the character.
Right.
You know? Because I remember watching that. There then abouts, you know, and I didn't know the backstory.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I remember watching and being like, does Warren Beatty think he's Dick Tracy? Like,
right?
Has he gone insane? You know,
it does feel goofy.
Yes,
but I kind of admire it. Where he really, I don't know, or maybe I don't know. Maybe he's withholding the world from the brilliant Dick Tracy movie we'll never see from the next Christopher Nolan. I don't know, but
yeah, it was. You know, it was the equivalent of that Fantastic Four movie that they shot and filmed.
Yes.
Just to keep the rights.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And so Warren Beatty made the calculation. All right, let me just throw on the raincoat. I probably got it in the closet somewhere.
Annette. What?
I mean, 18 years later. So he was pushing 70 by then.
Right.
You know.
By the way, second sleepy montage. Which, by the way, I mean, Mandy Patinkin, who I did not remember being such a big character.
Yeah.
In this. Who, by the way, I know him mostly from Princess Bride, this film now, and like Homeland all these years later, where he's got like a big scraggly beard and whatnot. And if you tried to tell me that those three guys were the same person, I'd never believe you. Totally. He looks so different in every era that I know him in.
See, I know Mandy Patinkin as the guy who gets pissed off on a hit show and leaves.
Wait, what do you mean?
Because he's done that twice that I know of. He did it on a show called Chicago Hope.
Okay.
He was
yeah.
He was like the star of that show.
Okay.
And then like maybe a season and he leaves. And then Criminal Minds. You know, which lasted forever, but he was on like maybe the first 3 years and he's like, I'm done, and he just leaves. And it's just like, I was like, man, you'd think these TV producers would learn not to keep hiring him for your TV show, because he's probably going to get pissed off and leave. And I'm amazed he lasted as long as he did on Homeland, you know?
Yeah, unless he was some sort of producer or something. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like this is one of the scenes where she kind of says something and he just doesn't answer, and I thought that was kind of a funny choice. I read later that their final scene, you know, where she's dying, it's like movie law, like they have to kiss, even though it's probably not the best idea for Tracy to do that if he really cares about his girlfriend. But I guess she said something about, was there ever a chance for us? And in the movie, he doesn't say anything. And it's just like, and I thought that was like, wow, that just feels really, it's hanging in the air there. But apparently he did say, it came damn close or something. And it was cut. I was like, yeah, that's interesting.
Like, how far can you take the not saying anything? That's the funny thing to me. Like, it's like,
right.
Gonna, like, stick my hand in your pants. I'm going to jerk you off here. And he's just like, doesn't say anything. Like,
yeah. Tell me you feel something too, Tracy. Tracy. Well, I'm going to leave. I imagine you're going to try to stop, or don't try to stop me. Tracy. And that's when you kind of, Tracy?
Oh, goodness.
By the way, so this also, I read, okay, so this scene with Tess and the mother, apparently this scene originally was just them bad-mouthing Tracy.
Okay.
Kind of understandable, actually. But then the author who wrote the novelization,
okay, Max Allan
switched. I'm sorry. Yes, he was just like, well, no. I mean, they kind of need to. You know, maybe the mother should stick up for him. Oh, this is why. Because in the comics, he ended up saving her or something. There's some sort of relationship between him and Tessa's mother that's positive. Okay. So he's like, well, she would never do that. So I wrote it in the novel this way, and you can go screw yourself or something. And then they're like, wait, actually, that works better. And so they reshot that scene.
Wow.
Because of the guy who wrote the tie-in novel.
Well, and the reason for that is Max Allan Collins, as you mentioned, was writing the newspaper strip.
Yes.
So other than Chester Gould, who was dead by then, he was like the living authority on Dick Tracy.
Right.
So for him to be like, well, that wouldn't happen, that carried some weight. And it makes sense that Warren Beatty was coming at this as a Dick Tracy fan. As opposed to a Warren Beatty fan, which I'm sure he was already. But you know what I mean?
Right. That's a good point. So he would probably be more likely to listen to that person than your average star making their sort of vanity piece.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because generally speaking, with comic book movies, maybe not so much now because there is more respect to the source material. But in that this window, it was like, well, go kick rock, comic boy,
Yes.
Let the grown-ups take over,
Right.
So can you think of any other example of that where the tie-in novel ends up influencing the actual movie? I can't think of anything like that.
No. I mean, this is not like it at all, but it makes me think of maybe Zack Snyder and Watchmen, where he's just he is willing to bend himself to respect the material. I mean, I know that's not exactly a perfect analogy, but just where it's the material that's king, really.
Yeah, I mean, like nowadays, like if we're talking about the MCU, for example, like Kevin Feige is a comic book fan.
Right.
So the movies tend to start from there.
Right.
But, I mean, again, you look at the comic book adaptations of this era. It was just kind of, I mean, look at Batman '89. Tim Burton. I don't think Tim Burton was particularly beholden to any of the comic books.
Yeah, right. Oh, by the way, that's funny. The Paddy O'Brien, this kind of Irish cop character, that reminded me of the '60s.
Paddy O'Brien. I thought Batman. He was Jewish. I'm joking.
Wait, what? It's like, huh?
Sorry, it's a little too droll.
That was good. That's how I like it.
I should be like, I thought he was Jamaican.
Right.
But this is completely unrelated to the movie, but I just want to point this out. I'm watching this on my tablet, and I got a little push notification from Apple TV Plus that said, hey, there's more to watch like Greyhound. And
really?
I think that's because Greyhound is the only thing I have watched on Apple TV. They're like, come back, please.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, back to Dick Tracy.
Yeah, back to Dick Tracy. A lot of that split diopter stuff going on here, which again I dig because we've mentioned this before. I think it was with Jaws. A lot of times when people use it, it just feels like something they wanted to do because they thought it looked cool. But in Jaws, we were saying we admired it because it felt actually how human vision works.
Yes.
And so and we should say that's basically when there's a lens that has two very different focuses split down the middle, so you can have something in the foreground, we're looking at right now, in the foreground in focus and something much further back in focus. And what I like about it in this film is it lends itself to the comic book panel framing, right? Where you can have the silhouette of someone's face right next to the camera, but then there's business going on in the background. It's pretty cool.
It is, and I think I think another term for that is deep focus. I think it's used sparingly enough in movies in general that you appreciate when it's done, and then even more so when it's done right.
Right.
In a way that's not showy.
Have you watched any of Warren Beatty's other like directed films? Like I've never seen Bugsy or
I've seen
Bugsy. Red. Oh, is that good?
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking. I mean, there's a real confident style here, and
I mean, he was one. Oh, you know what else I saw actually, which I like, is Bulworth.
I forgot all about that movie.
Right?
I've never seen it. I should. That seems like something. It would be a fun, maybe time machine. I don't know.
Yeah, time machine is the word. I can't speak to how well it holds up now.
Yeah.
It's very quaint. Like, oh, it's like this politician who's like keeping it real.
Right.
You know, but if I'm not mistaken, that was no, because he did Town and Country recently, which I think which was a huge flop.
Yeah, is that the Howard Hughes thing?
No, jeez, I should know this.
With Alden Ehrenreich, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Oh, yes, that's right.
All right.
So as a director,
Which you would know by that title, right? That's a movie about Howard Hughes. What an awful title.
So he did not direct Town and Country, I don't think. Hold on.
Oh.
Wait, let me see. Yeah, as a director. Oh wait, hold on. I'm totally screwed up. The Ehrenreich movie is Rules Don't Apply.
The Howard Hughes thing?
That's I don't know if that's Howard Hughes.
By Warren Beatty that came out like 2-3 years ago?
Yes. It is Howard Hughes, yes.
Okay. Still an awful title.
It's a terrible title. Rules Don't Apply. Yeah,
Just call it Hughes, damn it.
Who plays Howard Hughes in that?
I think Beatty does.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm so out of it. This is embarrassing.
No, I worked at the company that made it. So I wasn't there at the time, but I just kind of pay attention to what they do. So that's why I was a bit more on my radar.
So Beatty is Howard Hughes. So Rules Don't Apply flew completely past my awareness.
Now, which one's that?
Rules Don't Apply. That's the Howard Hughes one.
See,
weird.
Oh, wait, by the way, what is up with his laugh in this scene? It is really unnerving. I know I'm saying it wrong. Mandy Patinkin? You know what I'm talking about? This laugh he does in this scene?
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I remember that even from when I was a kid, and I was like, wait, who's doing that? The piano player's doing that? Why is he doing that?
Why are you doing that? Keys? 88 keys?
I just find it so... I wonder if he's like, look, I don't get like a funny, ears, or I don't get to make my hair purple. Just give me a friggin' laugh,
So, Brian, I'm looking at Warren Beatty's filmography as a director, and he has 6 credits, only 6 credits as a director. So, actually, honestly, 5 credits, because one of those credits is the Dick Tracy special we were just talking about.
Which I will never stop being amused by that.
That's hilarious to me.
The conceit of that is just amusing to me. But yeah, okay. So, but have you ever seen Bugsy? And is he good?
I think he's a good director. I wish he'd do more, or would have done more,
Yeah.
Him and Redford, I feel like they were competing in the sweepstakes of like 70s heartthrob actors who became directors.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Right. Because, in fact, I remember summer of 98 when Bulworth came out, it was right around the same time as The Horse Whisperer.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Good.
Yeah.
So kind of this weird little like Marvel versus DC thing going on between those two guys,
Yeah. And then he just had one not so long ago, right? The Howard Hughes thing.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Right.
Didn't do so well.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about Howard Hughes? Total tangent, but whenever I see anyone who is not Terry O'Quinn play Howard Hughes, I'm like, that's not Howard Hughes.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. That is who I picture as not even DiCaprio. It doesn't even matter. Yeah, I don't care what Scorsese has to say about it.
For those of you who don't know, Terry O'Quinn played Howard Hughes in The Rocketeer, which is a year after this. And, I think you and I both, we just saw it at the right age where it clicked in.
Yeah.
And the cement hardened.
And if there's one thing I know about him, it's after he created the Rocket Pack, he wished he'd never dreamed the damn thing up. Have we done that movie?
Oh, it's a coming, Brian.
Oh, we got to do that movie.
I love
that movie.
Inevitable. As surely as Thanos snapping his fingers, it is inevitable.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, I should point this out here. So now we got Tracy. He's been set up. He's in his prison cell, and the kid, who became like an honorary detective,
he chooses the name.
To choose his name. right? And so he decided to become Dick Tracy Jr. And I gotta admit, I don't know. This scene works for me.
You know, it'd be funny if Tracy's like, "What the hell is this shit?" How effing arrogant of you, you know?
I don't even know you.
We met like 3 days ago.
Right.
He pounds on the walls. I'm done now. You know, they open the thing.
Yeah. He can go. See, but he has nowhere to go. He can go. Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally buy this. I think Korsmo plays it well. I think Beatty plays it well. It's sweet. It adds some much needed heart to the movie, I think.
I get what you're saying. I think I'm reflexively averse to whenever a dumb kid is shoved into a movie.
I absolutely understand that. Yeah. All right, so now this is like third act.
We're cycling towards the end now, and cycling literally because this movie's pace is not exactly breakneck. We're just kind of cycling at a leisurely pace, you know.
Yeah, we're back to Mumbles. Oh, I saw a funny anecdote about this with
Gilbert
Dustin
Gottfried.
Hoffman. Yes. Did you see his quote?
Yeah, you can say it. Yeah.
Okay, so basically he was saying Gottfried was considered for the role of Mumbles, and he just thought that was crazy that it was on a list somewhere there was Gilbert Gottfried and Dustin Hoffman. And so he joked about it, saying the only way our names would ever appear together in the same Hollywood conversation would be in the sentence, "I've seen Gilbert Gottfried's acting, and he's no Dustin Hoffman."
You know what's funny is Dustin Hoffman just did this as a favor.
Right.
And
they'd just done Ishtar together, right?
They had just done Ishtar together, yeah.
Right.
And he, you know, just on a lark, which goes to what I was saying about basically the cast of this movie is just Warren Beatty's Rolodex.
Right. But this is pretty funny. And he slows down the tape. Big boy did it. Big boy did it. And I love that he just starts talking normal.
Right.
Yep.
His gimmick is up.
Yeah. By the way, this is just a complete tangent that I forgot to bring up earlier, but this had the first Roger Rabbit short put in front of it. Remember that?
Was this the first one? No, that's not true. It was the second short.
Wait, you're right. Was the first in front of like
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? There were 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Roller Coaster Rabbit was the first one. There was Tummy Trouble, Trail Mix Up, and Roller Coaster Rabbit. I don't know which in which order they were.
Yeah. But I remember that being exciting because I was 10.
Yes.
And so any additional Roger Rabbit I could get, I was excited.
It's a shame how Roger Rabbit just kind of like went away, you know?
Yeah, that is kind of funny, isn't it? I guess maybe there's two sides of that. I'm sort of glad he didn't get homogenized into this boring sort of figure.
Sure.
But so he still feels kind of special to me. But yeah, agreed. I think it would have been fun to have seen more of him.
It's funny because just the other day I was watching part of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I was watching it with the kids, and you know, I don't think I realized as much as a kid just how completely va-va-voom Jessica Rabbit is.
Right.
And I had this moment of like, is this appropriate? Like, I don't know if I should be watching with them. You know, like.
I know. Every time I watch that movie, I just can't believe it exists.
Right.
And it's for so many reasons. Just the tone. There's just this menace in the air the whole movie that I love. Like, that's why it's so good. Like, it got to be, in my opinion, the best version of itself. But I just can't imagine anyone allowing that movie to be as much of it the way that it is.
Right.
Wow. It would have had its edges shaved off.
Yeah. Well, that was peak Zemeckis, right? So he was able to get away with that.
Yeah, right. And Spielberg, we got 80s Spielberg saying, hey, here's what we're going to do, Disney and Warner Brothers.
Right.
You know? Sure thing, Mr. S.
So Tummy Trouble was in front of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Okay.
Roller Coaster Rabbit was in front of Dick Tracy.
All right.
And the third one was in front of A Far Off Place.
Okay, so that's why I was thinking there was another one that had to do with camping or something, and I've never seen it.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I never saw it.
I have no memory of A Far Off Place.
I was gonna say I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm looking at it on Wikipedia. I'm like, okay, this doesn't sound particularly interesting. Speaking of having no memory, I like this quote from Al Pacino where he looking back on Dick Tracy, and he says Beatty made a wonderful artistic film, even though now it's like it doesn't even exist.
Isn't that crazy that even he has that perspective on it?
But it's true, right? I mean, it does feel like that. Like, I feel like this movie, the comparison I make is I feel like Dick Tracy is to our particular age range what Flash Gordon is to people from 10 years earlier.
Oh, yeah. Right? I was just talking with someone about that, and I said I'd never seen it, and they couldn't believe it. But I was like, well, I can kind of believe it. I mean, I know what it is, but But yeah, that's so good.
Because it was exactly 10 years before this. And it's like, if you weren't like bullseye right in that particular demo,
right,
it meant if you're too old or too young, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. That's great point of comparison there. Like how they got that street all red.
That's great, isn't it? So rich. The colors are so vibrant. I really love how it's these really vibrant colors, but it's not garish.
No,
it's beautiful.
It's precise. It's beautiful. Yeah. But the buildings aren't red. Like it's just the artistry is just incredible.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that's James Tolkien right there. It's just so weird.
He was very ubiquitous for a while there, wasn't he?
Yeah. By the way, speaking, I think I mentioned this earlier, but we again have sort of a sequence where Madonna is performing a number, and then we have multiple things. It's kind of very Star Wars-esque, actually, where there's sort of 3 separate things going on that they keep cutting between. And so we have sort of a slower, calculated moment with Tracy here where he's trapped in a room doing the math, trying to figure out how to make like a catapult to get himself out. But I actually really like it. They keep showing Madonna, but they'll cut her off. It's like these hard, punchy cuts between the song and him in that room, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, stylistically. Wow.
I think also, good effort, Brian.
Thank you.
I think you made the one and only comparison anyone will ever make between this movie and Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
I just made some executive in 1989 while this was in production happy. He's like, I don't know, somewhere in the future, someone will say.
Someday you'll see, Larry.
I like how non-fantastic this is too. It's like, okay, let me crunch the numbers and figure out your weight versus my weight, but I like it. Like it's intelligent, I don't know. I like that moment.
It's we were talking earlier about how it's interesting how they didn't give him an origin in this movie. The opening shot is just the badge, the watch, and then his hat, and you're like, okay, that's all the origin we need. Looking into the history of the comic strip, he actually did have an origin in the comic.
Oh, what was it?
Where it's like the death of his girlfriend's father like prompts him to become a cop, and that's all like mapped out.
Wow.
Right, but what's interesting is Gould didn't want that. That was something the Syndicate asked him to do. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah, it was originally titled Plainclothes Tracy.
Huh.
That was how it was pitched, and then they changed it to Dick Tracy before it was published.
Huh. And a Dick obviously is slang for like a cop back in the day, so exactly. I wonder if that's sort of a play on words then?
To an extent, yeah, and I feel like, nobody uses the name Dick anymore, right?
No.
See, I was thinking about this, because I'm like, well, the reference to a penis as a dick is not something that sprang into being in the 1980s or something.
Right. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. I'm assuming people called penises dicks for a long time. I'm not up on my penile eschatology, but
yeah,
I'm assuming, right? So like, what changed? Yeah. What changed? Like, was it a sudden realization where people named Richard were like, no, the madness stops here?
Right. But speaking of, I mentioned off air to you that I'm listening to Alex Trebek's like memoir that just came out, and at one point he's talking about being in some sort of military academy, like college, like ROTC sort of thing, and he's like, and man, those people there were dicks. It's just so amusing hearing
Alex Trebek
calling
say that.
people dicks. Yeah.
You know, you should watch. I think it's on Conan O'Brien, where he does these Jeopardy parodies.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain it's on Conan O'Brien. You can see it on YouTube, but it's just like they cut together clips of Alex Trebek audio to make the answers in Jeopardy just absolute nonsense.
Oh, okay. I'll look that up.
It's very funny. I gotta find it. I'm fairly certain it's Conan O'Brien, but I'll have to double check that for you.
Okay. By the way, so this whole thing, we just had probably the most action-packed sequence of the whole movie.
Yes.
There, right? Where all the gangsters are spilling out of the club, cops taking a stand, and we just got a bunch of Tommy gun action, cars blowing up, all the mobsters getting gunned down in their cars.
Which in comparison with today's modern comic book action sequences, it might as well be Waiting for Godot, you know?
Right. Although it's pretty cool. I mean, it's seeing the cars blow up, and Tommy guns just look cool.
Yeah.
This is a good one. I like this moment.
Where, I just want to point out, I think Beatty in the costume looks so iconic.
I agree.
Like, we said this before, like, he should look ridiculous, but he looks cool.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. Yeah, you're right. He should look ridiculous, but yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I like this moment here where she's basically... It's like a good moment in any movie when you've gotten this far, where someone goes, he went that way. And then the hero's like, well, is this person telling the truth or are they lying? And they have to decide. It's good. And I was just going to point out, so the rest of this movie here with Pacino, there is so much, what I would imagine is riffing, right? Where he's getting in the car and he's barking orders at his henchmen. And then he says, he gets in there, he's like, oh, people crave leadership. You know, just stuff I'm sure he's just making up. But this must have just been hacked to death, because every time you see his face, he's making jokes. But anytime you see behind his back, he's aggressive.
Interesting. Wow.
Right? He never says anything aggressive unless his face is off camera. So there must have just been a huge reworking of whatever's going on here.
Wow. I hadn't thought about that. But yeah.
Yeah. I love it. That's so cool. Like that completely hammy fake background, but it just works.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can see how under a lesser vision it would look cheesy, but you know, everything was by design meant to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. And you know, even so the camera work is reflective of working with the the painted backdrops and everything. To really envelop you in this world. You know, we talked about it earlier. I mean, it's to me, it's just this great example of world building. And the other thought I had is, you know, we mentioned how like they just kill off like every villain. Like, it's the equivalent of Batman's entire rogues gallery just getting wiped out. Right. And part of that was supposedly that Warren Beatty didn't know if he'd get to do a sequel. So he wanted, all of the favorite villains, he wanted to put them in, right? And you know, people call this a failed franchise because it didn't spawn a sequel. But the thought I have, and I'd love to hear your thought, I'm kind of like, well, you kind of did the movie already.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you do another one, it's just going to be more of this, and, well, we got this.
Right. I agree. It's okay to just let this be the standalone statement about Dick Tracy.
Right?
Yeah. It's funny watching this now. So we have this is the second time she's been tied up.
Right.
It's sort of the damsel in distress. But when they put her on this big gear, I guess it's for a bridge. I was just thinking, I mean, obviously this is all movies and fake and whatever. But as she's sort of inching toward where her head is going to be crushed, I was thinking, like, do they actually have some PA just keeping an eye on her as that thing rotates? I mean, she is heading toward like these two, even if they're made of foam, you know, I mean, these two gears sort of coming together. Like if I was the actress, I'd be like, someone better keep an eye on me.
If they weren't careful, Brian, she would have been Glenn Headless. All right, I'm done.
You
can handle the next 15 minutes on your own. Let me know how the commentary ends.
It's just going to be me making commentary about how great that joke was. See, it's so weird, too. And then here he's saying, can you see that I love you? Like, what?
Yeah, like, what?
This is all nonsense.
Where did that come from all of a sudden?
Yeah, Big Boy, but for people who aren't seeing it, like Big Boy, just out of the blue saying he loves Tracy's girlfriend. It makes no sense. It's like, I even thought that. I was like, why did they keep that? It's just confusing.
Warren
It's
Beatty's
like he's
"All
just
right,
rambling.
screw you, Disney." That's what Warren Beatty
It's just
was
weird.
saying.
This
Not
is-
that, Brian, not that I agree with Warren Beatty's sentiment. I'm just expressing what he may have said in that sentiment.
right, of course. Beatty's statements reflect in no way on Zachy and I's.
We love our mouse overlords.
Oh, I for one, welcome. Yeah.
But I mean,
How many times have I sent you the Hail Ants meme like in the past week? I feel like I did that twice for some reason. I don't even remember.
twice
why.
in 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah. But this is very old-fashioned.
Yes.
I mean, in many, many ways here. I mean, when you talk about the superhero bombast third acts these days, I mean, this is literally a woman on a slowly turning gear tied up and two people just sort of hiding in the shadows, you know?
Yeah,
Not that I don't enjoy it. It fits this film, but it's just very different.
Well, and we've talked plenty of times about Batman '89. I mean, this certainly evokes the third act of that.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
I mean, up
Yeah.
to and including the falling villain trope.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Wow. I really do wonder. I hadn't thought about it, but I do wonder how much they looked at that movie in putting this script together. I mean, obviously they were making this probably in '89, but it does mirror it in many ways.
And at the very least, notwithstanding the creative side, marketing was 100% emulating the Batman style sheet.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah. And then I know we mentioned the shirts earlier, but I don't think I mentioned that apparently for opening day, your shirt was a ticket.
Yeah, that's
You
kind of
remember that?
interesting, right? This is the first I've ever heard of
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the last that I can remember.
It probably didn't go so well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a special shirt. I think it actually said, it had the logo and said like admit one or something, but it was, you had to get a shirt to get in or something. The blank.
So the blank, this is kind of interesting. The action figure was not available in the U.S. It was only available in Canada, I believe.
I saw it. So why, yeah, explain why that is. This is fascinating.
Well, I would assume that, the toys didn't sell particularly well. And so...
Oh, no, there's a story to this. I thought you had it. It's,
Oh, no.
You could take the face off and it revealed it was Breathless Mahoney.
Although it looked nothing like Madonna, worth pointing out.
No, but essentially the toy was a spoiler, and so they withheld them. But then, yes, I think due to lack of interest,
Right.
then the toy just never. I think it was released in Canada, but it was never released much elsewhere.
And so that, too, is one of the most highly sought after. I mean, that line of action figures is very interesting because, it's a great line for kids. I mean, and it's perfectly in scale with the Ninja Turtles line that Playmates did at the same time. So you can just take all these grotesques and make them turtle villains.
Right.
I mean, they're goofy looking, but you realize, well, for kids it would be great. I had the Dick Tracy. That was the only one I had. And I would love to get that, like a mint on card version of that Dick Tracy toy again, just to have it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put that out into the world, folks. Let's see what happens. Was this surprising for you when you find out that the blank is in fact Breathless Mahoney?
I'm sure it was. I mean, I was 10. Like I don't remember, but probably.
I don't know, but yes.
Yeah. I also remember, too, thinking when he's like, hey, call an ambulance, both of you together in another room. It just felt like a how do we get them alone kind of moment. Because they have to have. And this, again, is that sort of tightrope where it's like, well, for some weird reason, because of the way movies are, we want them to have some sort of connection or kiss or something.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably not exactly right for the character, but it's like we got to figure out the perfect concoction for how they can succeed. The audience won't lose, their feelings for Tracy in this, which is by having him say nothing.
Exactly right. The old.
She's like, could there have been a chance with us? Silence.
So in the comic strip, Breathless Mahoney is just a straight up villain.
Okay.
And she's just awful. So I feel like of all the villains in the movie, she's the one who's changed most significantly in terms of characterization.
Right. Kind of, she was brought into something she probably had little interest in, but then decides, if I'm going to be in this world, I'll make my own rules.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. I like this. When he sees Tess, and I think, isn't there fireworks or something going off?
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. We've mentioned Batman enough times. I mean, I think one of the things that we do sort of just take for granted is that Batman is eternal.
Yes.
Batman will never not be popular. Mm-hmm. And yet you look at a character like Dick Tracy, who was so popular at one time and commanded such a big chunk of pop culture capital. Why has Dick Tracy not lasted in the zeitgeist in the same way?
I'm sure there's many, many things to this, but part of it, I mean, it could even just be the costume. I mean, if Bruce Wayne was just out there in his suit fighting crime, would we feel the same way about him?
Sure.
But there's something about this image and this man in the shadows, and he doesn't have superpowers, but he has, heightened ability. I don't know, right? I mean, there's just something sort of fantastic about it. And so simple, but just so catchy,
Yeah.
I don't know that it would be the same if it was Bruce Wayne in a trench coat running around doing the same things.
That's a good point.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I look at all of these characters who are in many ways, the ancestors of Batman. Dick Tracy, I include in that. The Shadow, right? Mm-hmm. Even Doc Savage to some extent. And it's weird how these are all of his fathers. Mm-hmm. And you just took certain elements of their respective mythologies, and you ended up with something that transcends. And part of that is that Batman has really never left the public eye, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder about that, because this, going back to what we were saying about Flash Gordon, it's like, well, how many people really know who Flash Gordon is, right?
Right.
Maybe it's just the newspaper strips. I mean, I think maybe there's just something about that format that is inherently, it's out of step with what we would think of now as current. I mean, who reads newspaper comics?
Right.
That idea of like, oh, we got to come back tomorrow and read the next 4 panels.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there is a Spider-Man newspaper strip, or there was up until, like, earlier this year.
Wow.
And that had been running since the 70s, And,
wow.
And, like, Stan Lee was ghostwriting. I think by the end, somebody else, but it was his name on it, And it's like, well, it's because it's Spider-Man. And Spider-Man, it lasts because of that. It's not, if that was the only place you could read Spider-Man, would people care about Spider-Man anymore?
Right. Yeah, there's something about, and I mean, in Batman's case, I don't know if you want to call it luck, but each visual iteration of him just happened to be really cool in the moment it came out.
Yeah.
In the 60s, it was a phenomenon. In 89, it was a phenomenon. And, it's just never, they've always kind of nailed it.
Yeah. So here's a question. Okay, so in the comic strips, Tess Trueheart marries Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy Jr. ends up, he grows up, and there was a whole period I think it was in the 50s or 60s, where they make contact with the moon colony. And so they have
really?
like space vehicles, and Dick Tracy Jr. Hooks up with like a moon girl.
Really?
Who's like his girlfriend. Yeah. It went really kind of off the reservation for a while there. But, the mythology continued on, and one presumes that had they gotten an opportunity, they would have kept going with more of these movies. So we missed out on Moon People, Brian.
Well, there's still time.
The world of cinema is poorer for that.
When did that happen? Was that in the 60s or 70s? Or
I want to say 50s.
Oh wow!
But,
I was going to say, was it inspired by, say, the moon landing, or was it later with Star Wars?
Oh, you know, a good call. Maybe it's probably in the 60s during the space race, if I were to guess.
Right.
I don't know. Somebody who's listening, I'm sure there's plenty of dickheads out there who...
That would be amazing if that was the Trekkie.
That's their name for themselves. You tell us. By the way, worth pointing out, the body count in this movie, 27.
Really?
Yeah. So it's quite the bloodbath.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah. Well, at the end, when I was pointing that out with the guys getting gunned down, it's people in cars and running into... getting shot to death, and then their arms slung over their windows. And I mean,
that's how you do it.
Goes gangster for a minute there.
Between the overt sexuality and the rampant massacres, this is quite the family movie Disney was putting out to the world.
I know.
So Brian, you are handed the opportunity to reboot Dick Tracy. What do you do? What do you do, Hotshot? Pop quiz.
Honestly, I mean, to my personal preference and whatever, I would hate to copy this, but I wouldn't want to stray too far from it. I mean, I would try to come up with a more urgent script, a little more heart, a little more characterization, but I would want to continue with the style that this film started, personally. I don't know. What about you?
I would go CW style, cast like young Dick Tracy. You'd have to call him Rick Tracy now.
Right.
Somebody would hand him like a yellow fedora. He'd be like, "What do you think I am, an idiot?" And he'd like hand it back to them. I'm not wearing that.
Right.
You got to
sort of like
that.
Wolverine turning down the yellow.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna put on like a leather motorcycle jacket. Yeah.
But I mean, and I'm joking. Please, for the love of God, nobody who's listening, take me seriously about that. That is kind of the point. I mean, this character is really not merely attached to a specific era, but bicycle locked to that era. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be very difficult to. You can't do a modern Dick Tracy.
I don't think so.
It really needs to be a period piece. And maybe that's just a reflection of my vision of this character being very heavily influenced by this film.
Yeah. But just, I don't know, the hard-nosed detective thing just feels... I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, do we really want to see the Christopher Nolan-ish version of Dick Tracy?
Yeah. No, because then what makes it unique, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's just another cop, right? So yeah, hey, this is a fun one to go through, Brian.
This was, and as I just have to do it every commentary, I look in the credits for who was leading the ADR, and it was Barbara Harris.
Wow,
a woman I worked with in 2006, and I'm just in awe. Every movie. I mean, I was 10 years old when this came out, and to think that she's been doing this whole time and had her hands on so many movies. It's
amazing.
But this is the second time I've watched it in less than a week, and I love looking at this movie. I mean, it's flawed in many ways, I'd say, with story and whatnot, but I'd still call it a gem. I mean, I think it's a real achievement, and I think it's worth checking out, revisiting, or if you haven't seen it, it's totally worth checking out and just marveling at its artistry.
Yeah, we often talk about how the experience of watching these movies on mute can offer a new perspective. And really, I mean, that is so especially applicable here because, as we mentioned, I mean, without the sound on, you can just appreciate how almost every shot you could just put a frame around it and hang it on your wall.
Yep, entirely agree.
All right, so that wraps up our Dick Tracy commentary track. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And, hey, we'll be back soon with our next commentary. We got some fun stuff planned. I don't know, Brian. What do you think? What do you think we should do next? We got a couple options. I'll let you pick.
Okay, yeah. Man, it's an embarrassment of riches. I mean, the thing
it really is. I mean, we got a couple Back to the Futures. We got Inception. We were talking about Beneath the Planet of the Apes. That could be a fun one,
right? Rocketeer.
The appeal with Planet of the Apes is it's like 90 minutes soaking wet.
Right.
They get in and out. They still have time to do stuff, the rest of the
You
day.
can do your laundry while that's going on.
It's exactly right. So that could be a fun one to do. And of course, Inception is the exact opposite of Beneath the Planet of the Apes in that.
Right.
That's like hunker down, get a pot of coffee going, because
Yep.
we're going in.
Build your blanket fort and let's go.
That's right. So regardless, whatever we end up deciding for our next commentary track, that's coming up soon, and we also have our next regular show in just a couple days as well. So, Brian, anything you want to hype up before we go?
As always, writing on Puppy Dog Pals, which is still airing new episodes. Disney Junior, Disney Plus. Coming at you.
And you can find me at my website, ZackysCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner, which is also my Twitter and my Instagram. So look for me there. As always, please go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Let us know what commentary tracks you'd like to hear from us. Because as you know, if you listen, when you make suggestions, we will at the very least consider it. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not a guarantee, but we will definitely consider it. So I'll hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and you can also email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. So thank you, everybody, for listening. On behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, my name is Zaki Hassan. Catch you next time.